Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin Edition. Now, you might have a couple of questions. Firstly, where is that big dragon that used to be here? Secondly, why do I have spells equipped? Thirdly, what's that lovely hunk of steel on my hands? And fourthly, why has that guy such a lovely voice? To answer them in no particular order, well actually, in the order I post them. I killed the dragon, did it off camera. Maybe another 5 attempts-ish. Let's see. You can look at the human effigies and see how many I've lost. And you have to subtract 2 because I died twice doing other stuff. I will catch you up on everything I've done right now. So, concerning the weapon, it's the red iron twin blade. I picked this up in the Shrine of Amana, and I think I drew some attention to where I found it. It's in the last section in the center of that, circular area with a bunch of priestesses around and 2 of those Archdrake Knight Paladin things. Anyway, I think I mentioned when I found it that this was a good weapon, so I upgraded it to +10. And the reason I used this instead of the Gurm Great Axe is mostly it has less damage. As you can see, it has 340 instead of 410. And it doesn't scale as nicely. It still has an A scaling for strength, which is pretty good, but I'm fairly certain the Gurm Great Axe is better in terms of scaling. So this has more damage per swing, but let me just show you what I mean. If I equip the red iron twin blade. Nope, two-handed. I didn't use a shield for this fight ever, so there was no reason not to two-hand. It has a lot of attacks that hit multiple times, and that means they trigger the gold pine resin damage boost multiple times, and that makes it superior to the Gurm Great Axe in this particular fight, especially the way I was playing. The reason I didn't record it, I actually thought about it and thought about, I'll record all the attempts and just show you the successful one, but you've basically seen it. I did nothing different from the way I played during the attempts that I did record at the end of, well, pretty much most of the last episode, not just the end of it. The point is, I did the same thing, I was just being better at it, I guess. One mistake I kept making was bad stamina management, where I would exert myself, so, let me just show you. If I drain my stamina completely, I can't run, I can just walk until my stamina is completely refilled and then some, and then I can start running again, as you could just see. And that meant if I would completely drain my stamina attacking the leg and then he'd fly up for his fire attack, I would not be able to get away quickly enough to avoid the fire damage, and then I would take fire damage, and if he landed and hit me, I would be dead. So part of what I did differently was just paying more attention to stamina, making sure it never runs out completely, so that when he starts flying up, I can run instantly and gain enough distance to not be hit by the fire attack. It also, the thing I did first, the first few attempts, was kind of run to the front, to that area, indiscriminately, which is silly. When he flies up, run to where his tail is. And you don't need to lock on or move the camera much, because his tail will always be hanging down to the ground, and he always turns in the same direction anyway. So, as he flies up, run towards his tail. And kind of either to the left or to the right, depending on which side of it you're already on, just run to the same side. Because if you're right underneath his tail and he lands, I believe the tail slams into you and does some damage as well. Didn't even use a bright bug, by the way, in my successful attempt, so yeah. Other things I did. I killed the Executioner's Chariot in New Game Plus to get the Chloranthy Ring +2. I also killed Mytha the Baneful Queen, that's the Poison Lady from Earthen Peak, in New Game Plus to get the Covetous Silver Serpent Ring +2. Again, these were exactly the same fights as in New Game, and I did them exactly the same way, so again, I spared you having to watch that. I killed the Rotten twice in New Game Plus and New Game Plus 2. Just to get souls, basically. And I killed the Lost Sinner in New Game Plus to get the Old Witch's Soul, which you can trade in at Strait of Olafis? Anyway, that guy. The guy in Lost Bastille. And he will give you... Let me just show you... He will give you the flame weapon Pyromancy. Pyromancy that imbues weapon in other hand with fire. Adds fire damage to the types of damage the weapon already inflicts. Pyromancy and sorcery are said to be like oil and water, but in fact their origins can be traced to a common source. Yeah, whatever. I also traded the Royal Rat Vanguard Soul to Straight to get the Toxic Mist. I leveled up my character slightly. I now have 20 Vigor and Endurance and 14 Attunement. The Attunement is so I can cast some spells. Currently I have Warmth, which is a healing AoE thing. I cast it and it kind of heals everything in a small area around it until it dissipates. And the Flame Weapon thing. And in addition I have infused my other Gorm Great Axe with fire, so now it's a Fire Gorm Great Axe. The great thing about that is, I want that to be here. I can apply Flame Weapon to a Flame Infused weapon to basically stack on top of it, so that means this is now a very strong fire weapon. For most cases I will still be using the standard Gorm Great Axe because it has better scaling for me, but sometimes it might be advantageous to use the fire version instead. I also, as you can see, have cleared up my inventory substantially, so there's less clutter. Now, I don't believe I've done anything else, or at least nothing new that you haven't seen yet. Again, I just cut out the stuff that you had already seen and that was boring. I feel the last episode was quite boring anyway, because I died so much to the dragon, which I guess I should apologize for. That was not a good display of skill. But yeah, I should probably mention, the dragon does not give you a special boss soul. What the dragon gives you is a petrified dragon bone and a giant soul. So now I have 2 giant souls, or souls of a giant, and I have another petrified dragon bone, basically. Yeah. Don't think anything else has changed. I mean, oh yeah, obviously, as you can probably already see, I've upgraded the Pyromancy Flame to +10. My stats are not very good for Pyromancy because it scales with the sum of your Faith and Intelligence, both of which are stats which I've largely ignored. But it's still fine. It's ample, especially because I don't really use it for direct damage, just as a kind of buff.
Bearer until...
Okay, how about I level up a bit? Okay, I can get up to 3 slots. Can I get 4? I cannot. And let's stick to 3. This will also put me at 110 agility, which is kind of the point where, to my mind, it stops making sense to continue buffing it. And then I want to talk to the ladder smith.
Hey.
Okay, I believe I've already bought the miniature statue. I did. So instead I'm going to spend the rest of the money on buying a bunch of aromatic oozes.
Cheers for that.
Just so that I have some variety in terms of temporary weapon buffs. Okay, I believe there was a door here that I couldn't open before, but I should now be able to. Again, I believe. Yeah. I hope you're okay with me having skipped the dragon fight and such. I just feel that there was nothing new to be seen there. It was just doing the exact same thing I'd done before, only not sucking at it. Yep, with the Forgotten Key we can now open this. And there's one other thing we actually need to do. I now remember. Okay, so in here you find Soul Vortex, that's a spell, which I'm never going to use. I think that's a staff, maybe? Witch Tree Branch and Witch Tree Bellvine. That's a staff and a chime as far as I'm aware. Let me just check. Yep, that's a staff and that's a chime. In this chest we find Great Lightning Spear. The only thing I really need here is the Dragon Talon, which you use to access the second DLC, I want to say. Wait, let me think. No, it's the first DLC. Okay, let's return to the last bonfire. Did I? I'm not sure if I did anything else. If I did, I can't remember, so it can't have been that important. I know I said which bosses I had re-killed. Upgraded the Pyro Flame. Yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, I think this can go away, as can this. I also made the Bone Scythe when I was at Straight from the soul of the... what's his face? Covetous Demon. Probably never going to use it, but hey, I made it. We have the key to the embedded. I believe we can use that now, actually. You can both go. I'm just trying to keep my inventory clear. Oh yeah, I also made the Defender's Shield. Might actually use that for a bit. Don't really know why I keep the Justice Cap, but fair enough. So I have the Elite Knight armor, but no other armor piece. And I don't even know where to get those off the top of my head. I was going to go to Drangleic Castle. Nope, here, Kingsgate. No wait, that's actually the wrong one. Is it? Yes, it is. Eventually I will use a bonfire ascetic here. But not yet. I will do that after I've defeated all the final bosses in the game. Now, last time, the big dragon, before I started hitting him, he gave us the Ashen Mist Heart, and this is a point where I think the game should be a little more clear about telling you what to do with that. Let me see, it should probably be under key items. Right. Yeah, there it is. Manifestation of Ashen Mist received from the Ancient Dragon. The magic of the Ancient Dragon allows one to delve into the memories of the Withered. What that means is you can now go and enter the memories of the giants. And there's a few of those scattered around the game. I actually don't know all the locations off the top of my head, but we're going to do the important one today. There's 3 memories of the giant in total. I might have added some in the DLC. No, anyway, there's 3 that are relevant, because at the end of them you will get a giant soul. Which, you know, that's the stuff you need to kill, or to be able to fight Vendrick properly. And the key to the embedded can be used, like so. Just ram it through this guy's head. And then this door should open. I don't recall if this actually does anything. I mean, if we talk to her, she just goes away, disappears. You get a Ring of the Dead. I believe that's kind of pointless, though. It makes you permanently look like a hollow, maybe? Keep human appearance even when hollow, so it's the exact opposite. And now, I'm just doing kind of little stuff at the moment. Some bookkeeping stuff. I try to do most of it off camera and tell you about it, but there's some stuff that's actually, I'd say, genuinely new content, so I didn't want to do that. why not? Let's go to Cardinal Tower. There's a bunch of things in this area that I can show you, because I didn't do them the first time or because I couldn't do them yet. Oh wow. You hit me! That was mean. At least you're dead. Dropping a bastard sword. It's not actually a bad weapon. Especially at the beginning of the game when you don't have stats for anything super heavy. I myself usually prefer really heavy stuff. It's just what I like. In here you get some stuff, because you could get this quite early, this is going to be useless. It's a Ring of Restoration and some torches. The Ring of Restoration heals you very, very slowly. It's nowhere near as potent as the Regenerator's Ring from Dark Souls 1. But it is more powerful than the regeneration effect from something like Sanctus in Dark Souls. No, Forlorn. Okay, let me start that again. It's not as powerful as the Regenerator's Ring from Demon Souls, but it's more powerful than the regeneration effect from Dark Souls 1. Okay, this should be... Oh, he actually has a lot of health. Wow. In the beginning, when you're kind of... When you don't have that many rings yet... Okay, let's just trade blows. That's fine. Yeah. In the beginning, if you don't have that many rings yet, the Ring of Restoration can be useful, because, well, might as well, right? Later in the game, you will not be pressed for ring slots. You will be pressed for ring slots. So, even though you have 4 in this game instead of just 2 in Dark Souls 1, you can still fill them up very, very easily. I mean, even at this point. I still keep the covetous Silver Serpent Ring, even though technically the Royal Soldier's Ring would be advantageous. Now you can come and have me. Go on, go on, go on. Take me. Oh, sorry. You failed. Now we need to quickly switch to the King's Ring. And then switch back. Nope, I said switch back. I think I'll start with the more exciting thing, which is the Giant's Memory. And then we'll go on and do the... the other stuff in this area, which is pretty much irrelevant at this stage. We'll just do that later, afterwards, so that those that don't want to see it can just skip it. Okay. So, the thing about the Giant Memories is that they are timed. I think it's maybe 3 minutes or so. I don't know. But as I enter the memories of the Giant, he basically died, turned into a tree, but now we can access the past where he was still alive. Something. There should be a warning popping up in just a second. Something like, you cannot reside within memory for long. Yeah. Now this memory is actually not very long. Just have to be careful to avoid fireballs. Oh, damn it. If you're very fast, you can... Wow. See things? And do not exert yourself. You want to have stamina left over to be able to move. Ow. That was silly. That was also silly. Bad moment to heal. It worked out though. Yeah, it's not a very difficult fight, I mean, it's more difficult than Last Giant, but easily doable. And then I think up here is a fire seed. Now he gives you a giant Lord Soul and the giant's kinship, and that's what you need to actually challenge the final boss of the game. Well, what used to be the final boss, I guess. There's some other stuff on corpses around here, but I'm not too fussed about it. Instead, I will go down here and examine this dead giant, giving me a soul of a giant, and examining it again takes me out of the memory. Okay, so I will make a quick cut and be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that cut. Nothing actually happened in-game, just stuff and things outside of the game. Real life sucks. And now we are going to travel to Mayula. I am at this point fairly happy with my stats, I guess.
Bearer of the until.
So the only thing I believe I'm going to spec is just, I don't know, intelligence. It'll make my fire damage a little higher. Okay. Let's switch out for that, and then we will travel to Dragon Lake Castle, Kingsgate. And now that we have the Giant's Kinship, which dropped from the Giant Lord. Where is it? It's key items. There we go, Giant's Kinship. Each king has his rightful throne, and when he sits upon it, he sees what he chooses to see. Or perhaps it is the throne which shows the king only what he wants. The flames roar, but will soon begin to fade, and only a worthy heir might burnish their light. What is it truly a claimant of the throne could desire? Now, one thing that bothers me about Dark Souls 2 is that Dark Souls 1 had such a brilliant setting. It was kind of the last days of a world. You weren't so much fighting for survival or glory. Then you were fighting to maybe keep the world going for a year longer or a bit longer. I mean, the Age of Fire was gone. Everything was decaying. There was nothing new was being created. It was basically a world on the brink of destruction and death, and depending on your choice at the end of Dark Souls 1, you would either keep the world alive as it is for a little longer, or you would plunge it into darkness, which is not completely bad, but the way the game pictures it, the Age of Dark is not exactly glorious or great either. So the thing is, this game is supposedly set centuries after the first one. I don't know if any precise thing has ever been said, but the setting of a world that's about to die doesn't really work if you keep it going. I mean, the world was about to die 100 years ago. It's still about to die. It kind of takes away some of the pressing sense of inevitable death and destruction away from it, I feel. And the first game did that quite well, I feel. Okay, let's see if this lasts throughout the possible cutscene. There should be one. And if I had gone here, if I hadn't beaten Throne Watcher and Throne Defender before, I would now have to fight that fight and then this one straight after.
Brave undead, you have proven yourself to me. Now, be one with the dog.
And that's Nashandra, the queen. I believe there is a way... Okay, just go away. These spheres cause damage and curse. Wow. It's not actually a very difficult fight. The curse build-up is a bit annoying. And she uses a scythe, as you can see, so you need to be careful and keep in mind that you cannot really block a scythe from all distances, and the distance she swings at, basically, if you're right in front of her at melee range, you will not be able to block. So, I mean, I have my shield up, which is mostly instinct, but don't expect it to do much. Okay, that was silly. Should not have wasted all my stamina there. It's not a very difficult fight, though. I mean, you can largely ignore the curse. I think that's an AoE blast, yes. Poor Benhard, not doing well. But yeah, as you can see, she's not that powerful. She has some other attacks that we haven't even seen yet, but who cares? She's dead. Now, I'm wondering if we'll get the next fight straight away. We don't. Okay, that's good. Now I don't think I can get out of here. Nope. If I were to use a homeward bone, I also would not be able to get out of here. Or similarly the aged feather. Or the dark sign even. Okay, heal me to full, please. Thank you. I don't know what the exact condition is, but eventually there will be a third boss fight here, and after that one we'll actually be able to choose the ending. Right now we only have one ending that we can get, and that's this one. I don't think I can skip the credits. I believe on your first playthrough you never can. It might be that I'm able to, because I've already beaten the game on another character. I'm not exactly sure how that works. So let's watch this cutscene. With the new content, they basically added a different ending, which I didn't have the ability to choose right now, but I think I will be.
The fire. You who bear the curse. Once the fire is linked, souls will flourish anew, and all of this will play out again. It is your choice to embrace or renounce this.
I dislike how they say it's your choice when this is the only ending I could choose right now. Dark Souls 1 solved that, or did that a lot better. No matter what you've done throughout the game, right at the very end you could choose what to do. To sacrifice yourself, to keep the flames, to keep the Age of Fire going, to keep the flames lit, to rekindle the fires. Or to...
Great Sovereign, take your throne.
To become the Dark Lord and lead the world into the Age of Darkness. Whereas here, you just take the throne. There's no choice, which I feel from a role-playing perspective is quite...
What lies ahead, only you can see.
I don't know. It's not a good change. I'll see if I can skip the credits, which should start in a moment. I'm pressing start, I'm pressing select, none of it works. Yeah, I can't skip that. Okay. So I usually use the credits of the game to recap. I like to keep them playing, but we'll probably see them again, so that's why I would have skipped them now if I could. But anyway, I keep them playing out of respect for the people who make the game. And that's the thing, I hate on the game quite a bit. I mean, I point out things I dislike, I say how it's worse than Dark Souls 1, and I feel that's the case. But I still enjoy the game. And if I didn't, I wouldn't make a Let's Play of it. It's still a very good game. it is still a lot better than 95% of everything else that has been produced in recent years. It's just that next to a timeless game like Dark Souls 1, which is just even better still, it pales. And there was a lot more potential there to continue with the themes of Dark Souls 1 and to keep the style of that game going. And I feel in some ways they have focused too much on the aspect of it having to be difficult and people needing to die a lot and all that stuff. I feel that a lot of things could have simply been done better, but that's not to say that this is not still a good game. It's still great fun. And the whole upgrading and role-playing aspect and choosing where to invest your stats and exploring and finding hidden treasures and fighting difficult enemies and all that, that's all still fun. Someone asked why I was playing this, if I hated it so much. I just hate it compared to how much I love Dark Souls 1. I still like it a lot more than most other games I've played. It still is very, very good. So I think I said that at some earlier point as well. I'm just trying to make sure it's quite clear. The credits are very long, by the way. So, yeah. I can't skip them, I'm afraid. Sorry. I think for credits this long, it's not good that they force you to watch them the first time through. But, well, what can you do? The issue, or one of the issues or gripes I have with the game is that with the Scholar of the First Sin edition, they appear to have made a lot of changes, mostly to enemy placement and where you find which item. And I feel these changes they weren't large, so I think it's very greedy of them to charge full price for the game again, even to those people who have already bought the base game and all the expansions, all the DLCs. I also feel that in some ways the way they've changed the enemies around has made sections a lot more tedious, and in some cases it really doesn't fit. The most noticeable one, which I think I drew attention to in the video description, is when you're in the Tower of Flame, Hyde's Tower of Flame. And it makes sense that they've placed a lot more Hate Knights there, which weren't there before. I mean, they're strong enemies for that stage of the game. They're quite difficult to defeat, but that's fine. Because if you know what you're doing and you only go through the area once, you don't actually have to fight them at all. And yeah, they just glued on the Dark Souls 2 credits at the end. Yeah. Anyway. But then, because somehow it was too easy or something, they've added that dragon in front of the old Dragon Slayer boss room. And I know it's probably a drake and not a dragon. Now, I know in Heraldic there's a difference between a drake and a dragon. The drake is two-legged, the dragon has four legs. So, something like the ancient dragon actually was a dragon. Whereas I believe the guardian dragon we fought only had two legs, so that would technically be a drake. But since we're talking about completely made-up creatures here, if you want to call a thing a dragon, it is a dragon. It's your world. I mean, I find it a bit silly when people go on videos and complain, or write in the comments of videos, which I've seen with other Dark Souls Let's Players, when they refer to something as a dragon and they say, no, it's not a dragon, it's a drake. It's a huge fire-spitting lizard. If I want to call it a dragon, that's what it is. Technically, I could call anything a dragon, and I would be well within my rights because, well, it's a fantasy setting. Now, if the game itself calls something a Drake or a Dragon, that's fine. You can go with that, but really the distinction in this case is so minor that I feel it's silly to get into it, I guess. Yeah, someone on my other computer has just posted, "Hi people who are watching whatever I am recording." I don't think he notices that I'm not recording the actual chat window he's talking in. We should be somewhat done now soonish, I hope. But yeah, I feel that with the Scholar of First Edition they had the opportunity to remove a lot of the silly and annoying things in the game. And they've removed some of them, but then they've added some again in other places. As I said, I didn't quite finish. Having the old Dragon Slayer, I mean, I hate the fact that they put him in it anyway. I really dislike that fan service crap. Because to me it breaks immersion. There's no reason for the old Dragon Slayer, for Ornstein to be there. And you can say all day long that it's not Ornstein, it's someone who wears his exact armor set and uses the exact same moveset. That makes him Ornstein. I mean, there might be a lore thing that you can make up that says he's not Ornstein, but he looks the same, he does the same. From any meaningful perspective, that makes him Ornstein. He's been put in there because people liked the boss in the first game and wanted him in again, and so, hey, here he is. But it's not actually Ornstein, he's the exact same thing. It might be Ornstein's brother Pornstein or whatever. I dislike that. And anyway, having a Dragon Slayer and then a dragon right outside his boss room, which he apparently doesn't bother to kill, doesn't even make sense that he's there in the first place. And I think that particularly just breaks a lot of immersion. Okay, looks like we're kind of done. Now the reason I could defeat the final boss without any issue before actually being done with everything I wanted to show you is simply that it doesn't end the game instantly. You don't get instantly popped back into New Game Plus as you did in Dark Souls 1 and Demon Souls, where if you would basically beat the game, you would then be plopped back into the starting area and everything would be New Game Plus. Not so in this game. In this game you get plopped back to Majula, but there's an option at the bonfire now to set the game into New Game Plus. So if I don't choose that option, I'm still in New Game, and I can now go and do everything I like. I can even fight the final boss again if I really wanted to. And here we are. And now there's the Begin Journey 2 to Drangleic option. Okay, so that's the exciting part of the video over. Actually at a time where I could end it. I'm going to end the video here. End it on a high note, defeating the final boss. The final boss is a disappointment. It's not just because of me having summoned. It would not have been much more difficult without me summoning. I would have done a lot more damage. But it would not have been more difficult. I mean, her attacks are fairly easy to dodge. Again, you can't really block them, but dodging is fine. Oh yeah, I was actually going to.
Well.
Since we've defeated Nashanja, she now sells infinite Titanite chunks. And I have 8 of them. I need 6. So I need another 10. That should be ample. I'm going to upgrade my armor to +10 now. And then I'll end the episode.
I'll be around.
Okay. Now just in case, I know people have asked, why aren't you wearing a helmet? I'm not wearing a helmet because I don't like to wear helmets. Because of the way I play, armor is not really that important in the first place, so I just choose an armor set that I like, that I think looks cool, and that's not too heavy for me to wear, and then I'll stick to that. And since I don't want to wear a helmet, I'm not going to. It's fine. Defense is not that important anyway. Okay. On that note, I'll end the episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.